Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, March 24th in the year 2026, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. Well, I talked last week about my Uncle Blue, my fun uncle, I call him. He believed in enjoying life. He was one of a kind character. I went to his funeral service this past week in Birmingham. Went to the church where most of us grew up in, Our Lady of Fatima, and it was pretty much half full. My friend from Our Lady of Fatima Elementary School, Deacon Douglas Moore, did the Bible readings and gave the homily. He did a good job. It was good to see him. Hadn't seen him in quite a while. We've been knowing each other a long time. He was a good man, and everyone agreed in there that my Uncle Blue was a character, a good man, a loving dad, and a great uncle. All the cousins were there, at least a dozen of us, the Gossams, the Thomases, the Browns, the Hudsons, and then more Gossams, and Blue's children, the Tankersleys. It was a good feeling for all of us to be together, recognizing that the generational mantle had been passed. All of our parents, sisters, and brothers are gone, and Uncle Blue, who was 91 years of age, was one of the last. Looking back, I think we all realize that we grew up in a cocoon, a community, the Gossams and the Tankersleys. It felt good then, it feels good now. Again, to Uncle Blue, my parents, all the aunts and uncles, thanks for everything you gave us. Our G-List guest today is Coach Carol Rhoden. Coach Rhoden is a motivational speaker, a best-selling author, and an Auburn alum. She uses her love of basketball to inspire teams to become champions both on the court and in life. From All-American honors to overcoming setbacks and finding her true calling, her story is one of resilience, faith, and purpose. And we certainly look forward to that conversation. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the consulting firm of Best Girl Inc. Let's catch up to Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to the round table and talk to Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker this morning and see what they got going for us. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. And how was your weekend?
It was wonderful. I had a busy weekend as usual. Was over in Atlanta and got a chance to actually attend church service over in Atlanta. And then left Atlanta, went to Auburn for the men's basketball game, the round 2 of the NIT tournament. And thank God Auburn won. They tried to give the game away there at the last few minutes, but survived and actually won the game. So they're going on to round 3. They'll be playing again Wednesday night in Auburn again. So they'll be playing Nevada on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. late game. So hopefully there'll be a decent crowd there. But it was a good crowd on Sunday evening. We had a great time.
Yeah, I think Barkley paid $5 for some tickets or something.
I heard that. Yeah, that he paid $5.
First game.
Right. So. Yeah, that he paid $5, paid money for the kids to go to the game, and I think it only cost them $5. He paid the rest of the money for them to attend. So, yeah, it was a good crowd, really good crowd.
Good job. Okay, Michael Walker, go ahead, Barbara. You got some.
I want to wish a happy birthday to my niece Jerica, who's celebrating her birthday today. Hopefully, she's watching us this morning. And if so, Jerica, slow down. You're about to catch up with me in age. So have a great birthday, though.
Okay. And I'd like to say good morning to Pat Eddington. I got a chance to talk to Pat last week. She
Good.
seems to be doing well, and I'm going to go and visit her sometime soon. So, Pat, if you're watching this morning, we're glad you're watching, and
Yes.
hopefully we'll get to visit soon. So let's see what Michael Walker. Michael Walker, you around there somewhere?
I am. Thank you. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, TG. How are you all this
Morning.
morning?
We're
Doing
good,
well,
man.
thank you.
What's happening with you?
Oh, it's a busy time of the year. You got the NIT. Auburn's dominating in the NIT,
I don't
huh?
know about dominating, but they're playing. They survived.
Well, they're the number one seed, so they should win.
Absolutely.
Playing at home.
Yes. They're playing
Yeah,
at home through Wednesday. If they win Wednesday night, then they'll have to go to Indianapolis
yeah, yeah, and
for the
that's where
final four of the
they'll be in
NIT.
the Final Four in
Right.
Indianapolis. So that would be a good thing.
Yes.
Let's come back to that, but I want to talk to you guys about something. You know, we mentioned on this show before about artificial intelligence, and that's the new wave, and that's taken over every aspect of our lives and stuff. And we talked last week about how it's impacting college students. Well, check this out. A Tennessee grandmother was arrested due to artificial intelligence and arrested in Tennessee and taken to Fargo, North Dakota, where
Damn.
she supposedly participated in a bank scheme and fraud. And she told him, I'd never even been to Fargo, North Dakota, but the local police there used some type of AI to identify whoever perpetrated this crime. And they somehow picked this lady. And she stayed 9 months in jail. She was arrested, didn't know what she did, and it took her getting some local attorneys to get involved, and they figured out this person didn't cause this crime. And so now they're looking at civil rights violation and suing Fargo Police Department, the authorities there, for doing that.
Wow.
Did
Absolutely.
they go and get her in Tennessee, or she in?
Yes, they went
Wow.
to Tennessee and got her
Wow.
That's
and took her back to Fargo.
What was the crime, Michael? What did they accuse her of?
Bank fraud is what
And
it
she'd
is.
never been to North Dakota, never had probably didn't even have a bank account there or anything.
Right. Yeah, this says July of 2025, after Fargo police used AI facial recognition technology, allegedly linking her to a bank fraud scheme. Local attorneys proved in December she was not a suspect. And our lawyers say this goes far beyond just simple dismissal of charges.
Right.
Our primary focus is accountability, understanding where things fell short, and make it doesn't happen again. And so you can bet there's going to be a big lawsuit coming after this one.
Absolutely.
She might not have had any money before it happened,
Yeah.
but she may.
Yeah, I was going to say she might not have had any money in the bank in North Dakota before, but she may have some after this case is over with.
She may own Fargo, North
She may
Dakota.
own. Yes, exactly. Wow, that's crazy.
You see those little vignettes on Facebook, the little vignettes, little 10-minute video things that they do, and it's people taking advantage of. Well, it was one yesterday. The woman was on this man because she didn't want him to fly the plane because it's a black dude, and they do these things. But that's for real. What you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. This is for real.
God Almighty.
Yes, absolutely. And at one point, I had mentioned, because some of the stuff that I'm looking at as far as technology and what have you, they said that there could be some instances where AI has biases in there based on certain ethnicities and what have you. And when you think about it, AI is what somebody programmed it to do.
Right. Exactly.
So a person's own biases could get into that. But this particular situation, this was a grandmother that was not of an ethnic minority, so to speak.
But that's really interesting, Michael. And they use AI, and they said everybody in this world has at least one twin. So, if they're just doing facial recognition only, then I could see how that could have gone wrong.
That's
Well, I think the other thing is, they don't listen to people. They don't try to understand people.
Right.
Everybody can make a mistake, but I'm telling you, that's not me.
Right.
Now, I don't know any other way to say that's not me other than that's not me.
Right.
Yeah. So let's let me go down. You got any lawyers? Let me go down the street and get a lawyer here.
Right.
We can fix this right away.
You're innocent until proven guilty. So, she should have had an opportunity to prove herself before they put her in jail. That's the part I don't understand either. You can accuse her of something, but
and that's where the civil rights violation comes into.
Absolutely.
The effect of that, Check this out. Guys, the stock market is up and down and all that stuff. And our negotiator in chief has just said he may lift some sanctions. I won't get into that.
I was going to say, you're going to talk about that this morning?
No, I won't get into that. But where I'm going with the stock market is pretty soon, and Congress is looking at this, where marijuana companies can be listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah. Would you buy stock in some of marijuana? And here's the deal. Here's what's happening. When they first started deregulating it.
Yes.
So what?
Yes is the answer.
Yes.
My friend down the street owns a growing field.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
It's business now.
Yes.
Yeah, but see what has happened and what has been a barrier to entry and growth in the market is the fact that federally it's still listed as a certain class of drugs and it's illegal.
Right.
It's locally that people are using it for medicinal purposes, recreational, and what have you. And the problem is they've had to make it an all-cash business because banks are federally regulated and they can't, when you go and open up a bank account and do certain things, they ask if you are participating in certain illegal activities and what have you. So a bank cannot take a marijuana grower's money or what have you because it's illegal. And it's made it difficult for them to do bank financing, get insurance, and all these other things that a normal business would do. So now what this law will do will make it not illegal for banks, insurance companies, and what have you to insure them now as businesses. So it's bringing them mainstream. And I think that'll probably be a pretty good stock. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't become one of the magnificent 7 on the S&P 500 pretty quickly.
I think, man, it's, I don't know, but we were in New Orleans, and you can't walk down the street without smelling it.
Right.
And I smell it in the neighborhood from time to time when I'm riding my bicycle. It's a different world now. And I do remember back in school how they used to use it to scare people. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't doubt it'll be legal at some point. Should be me. Yes, me.
Yeah. But you heard about the basketball player at Alabama, Aiden Holloway, who used to be at Auburn. He was arrested last week, charged with possession of like 2.2 pounds, I think.
2.1. And had it been 2.2, he could have been sent away for years. So, it's okay.
But he was dismissed from the basketball team, suspended from school and everything. So it's a big deal. He's not able to play on the team. They're still in the NCAA tournament, and he's not able to play on the team or anything. So it's still an issue here in Alabama for sure.
Well, I did barely see that, but how did they discover it? What happened?
I understand it started with a traffic stop. He was stopped due to a traffic violation or something, and I don't know if they smelled it in his car. Something made them want to search his apartment, and I think some of his neighbors had complained about something too, and so they searched his apartment and found the marijuana. And like,
And then
wow,
they
yeah.
said, but I think I heard they said it was for recreational use.
Yeah.
He said it was
He
for his
said it was
personal
for
use.
recreational use, but he had 2.1.
He had 2.1 pounds, and I understand that. And again, this could have been a rumor; it wasn't an official story, but they found a scale and some small baggies or something in his apartment as well. So if he wasn't already selling it, they were saying he was getting ready to sell it, because why would you have a scale and the little personal baggies if that wasn't the case?
And they charged him with failure to file a tax stamp, which basically means that he was intent to distribute, and he didn't have a distribution license. He wasn't legally licensed to do that anyway.
Right, just to dispense it.
What did the university do to him? Anything?
He's been expelled from school, I think, and like I said, he's been dismissed from the football team, kicked him off campus. He's not even allowed on campus right now, I think.
That was kind of stupid. Where's he from?
North Carolina originally.
Okay.
Yeah, he was an All-American coming out when he came to Auburn and stuff. He played at Auburn for 1 year, and kind of didn't do as well as expected and stuff. And then he transferred to Alabama the next year.
And he's one of the leading scorers on Alabama's team. I think the second leading scorer on the team. And
basketball or football?
Basketball.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, he would have been playing in the NCAA tournament right now had he still been on the team. So that's a pretty big deal.
And his court hearing is not until the 14th of April. So nothing is going to be resolved before the NCAA tournament is over.
Right.
But he won't be able to play, will he?
No, not in this tournament. No.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's done.
That's I don't know, Michael. You grew up in Auburn. You may remember, but how the sheriff would go around and arrest people when it was time to get elected, and they would arrest people for small amounts of marijuana and put them in jail. And there's this great story they tell about the sheriff coming to one of the classes and talking to the students. And now this part is true. Once it got to be, people were all over campus were smoking and whatever. And the coaches had a seminar where we were walking down the coaches' offices and you could smell it. And they had somebody in there teaching them about how it smelled and so on and so forth, and how it affects you and all that. And then they told this story about the sheriff went to this class and told them about marijuana, how it smelled and all that. And he said, I'm going to send these 3 joints around the room so y'all can smell it or whatever. Now, if the 3 joints don't come back, I'm going to have to arrest somebody. Somebody's going to jail. So he sent 3 joints around and 5 came back. Somebody didn't want to go to jail.
Right. They made sure.
They weren't taking any chances. Anyway, what else you guys got?
I got a story for you guys. I couldn't believe this. There's this woman who graduated with a 3.87 GPA, but she ended up reading at a first grade level. And I think her math comprehension is also at elementary school level. But she's suing her former school district. She's saying it's frustrating because she received her high school diploma, but it actually closed doors for her rather than instead of opening doors for her to get a job. Her name is Makina Simonson. She was a high school graduate in Washington. She claims she graduated with a 3.87 GPA despite finishing her senior year with a first grade reading level. I was like, wow. Yeah. So her family suing the school district saying that, but you would think they would have recognized that before she graduated. the family should have known there was an issue.
Well, I don't understand how you can have that grade point average and not know how to read.
Right.
Because, I mean, when you take tests, there's certain type of reading comprehension. You know, you got to be able to have that ability to comprehend what you're reading so you can answer the question.
Absolutely.
So if she, you know, something just doesn't make sense there, right?
Maybe she was looking on somebody else's paper.
For 12 years.
I know some guys who were pros at that.
Well, I do too. I knew some. I knew some at Auburn that knew how to do that, but you know, this is something different.
This is, she said she got an A- in math classes, but she can't tell how many quarters, nickels, or dimes are in a dollar.
Something wrong with that school, then.
Absolutely, there's something wrong.
Wow.
Well, wait a minute. I think I will. Okay, I'll speak for myself. I was taught by my grandparents how many quarters in a dollar, how many pennies in a dollar.
Before you even went to school.
Exactly. So
now I will say this. I have gone, and this within the last couple of months, and I have gone to places because I still keep cash. And whatever it was, I gave the woman, you know, a big bill. And she looked at me, and I said, "Well, you owe me X number of X back."
Right.
She said, "For real?" I said, "Yeah. Just give me this back, and we'll be good." And she said, "Okay."
Yeah. They don't know. They don't think because they've never had to. They had all these machines these years to, you know, to do all the work for them. So they don't know. I actually went to the store the other day and I bought something. My total was 53 cents. I gave them 60 cents because I didn't have any pennies. And then she gave me a dime back. And I'm thinking, what? Wait a minute. But I thought about it. At first I was thinking, okay, she doesn't know her math. But I think it's more so the penny thing, you know, where the penny's going away and they don't have pennies anymore. So I was like, okay, that's probably what happened. But it had me questioning her ability to think rationally at first.
Well, I had the lady tell me the other day that she owed me 12 cents, but I have to go around to the other side of the place to get it because I don't have the 12 cents in this register. And I wonder, I don't give a shit how far you got to go to get it. Just go get my 12 cents. You know? And she looked so pitiful, man. It's like, that's fine. Go ahead. You know? You're good. You're good. So, anything else? Y'all ready? Let's move on. Sean's got a minute for us, and then we'll go to our G list guys. Sean, you got a minute?
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute. Today, let's talk about energy. Not the loud kind, not the prove yourself kind. I mean, quiet energy. The one that shows up in how you allow people to treat you. Because the truth is, you don't have to chase what's meant for you. You don't have to over-explain your worth. And you definitely don't have to shrink just to be chosen. The right people, they don't make you question your place in their life. They don't leave you feeling like a maybe. So today, I want you to check in with yourself. Where are you overgiving? Where are you waiting to be seen? And what it would look like to choose you first. Because choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's actually alignment. And alignment will always attract what forces never could. So take a breath. Reset your energy and remember, you are not an option. You're the standard. So that's it. That's your minute. I want you all to all go out and have a great day. And if you don't want to, don't you go out and ruin anybody else's because they can do that for themselves. All right. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones. This has Got a Minute.
Sean. That was great. That was really good. So let's go to our G list. Hollywood's got the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list. Now, our G list guest today is Coach Carol Rhoden. She's a motivational speaker, a best-selling author, an Auburn alum. She uses her love of basketball to inspire teens to become champions both on the court and in life. From All-American honors to overcoming setbacks and finding her true calling, her story is one of resilience, faith, and purpose. So let's hear from Coach Carol Rhoden. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, Tom. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. We're going to start with Barbara there, and she's probably got a question for you.
I do. Good morning, Coach Carol.
Good morning, Barbara. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I want to talk. Let's go back to the beginning. How did you get started playing basketball? Let's talk about that.
Believe it or not, my passion was actually football. I used to play tackle football with my uncles and my cousins, and I was really, really small, and they took no mercy on me. And I just remember leaving the field a lot of days crying, but just having a passion for the game of football. In fourth grade, my teacher, Miss Hendricks at the time, saw me playing basketball down with the girls and said, "Hey, go down and play with the boys." And of course, I wasn't welcome. And that's actually where my journey of basketball began in the fourth grade, going down to play with the boys and again, getting roughed up pretty bad.
So you're too good to play with the girls, but the boys weren't going to accept you either. So.
Not at all. Not at all. I had to fight for rebounds. If I took a shot, if I had an opportunity, I had to shoot it quick because they were asking for it back. Right. But that was my beginning journey of the game of basketball.
Bless you.
That's funny when you say they would ask for it back, because I can picture that, not just you, but I just remember sometimes you'd give the ball to somebody and you'd say, "No, give it back."
Right back. They just,
yeah, absolutely.
They just let you touch it.
I just had to laugh about that too. She said I had to shoot it quick.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So soon as she got it, she was shooting it. So before they could ask for it back.
Yeah. Air ball, brick, it didn't matter. Just shoot it.
Shoot it. And if you made it, they said, don't. Oh, yeah, okay, good shot.
Good shot.
Absolutely. So that's where my journey of basketball began. Absolutely.
Who's up?
I want to ask you this. Let's skip ahead. I want to get your perspective on NIL and the women's game, the impact it has on women's basketball, especially in college. And I will just say this as setting the table. My daughter, Michaela, is the general manager for Syracuse women's basketball now, the first GM they ever had. So I told her this is perfect because you get to design the program and set the standards and what have you. However, she's talking about the fact that they had like $1 million deficit that they were operating. And I said, well, why is that? And she said, well, because they do not equally distribute NIL. Right. And we don't have that. She said, so I'm about to start calling alumni to say, hey, we need to have some contributions. And she said they got all upset saying, we can't have our GM calling the alumni. She said, well, somebody better do it. If not, I'm going to do it. So that's why I brought that up. So tell me what you think about this situation.
Well, I think NIL across the board, I think is a great thing. We would love to see things equal, but we know that we don't live in a world where things are equal for male and female. So like your daughter, we have to fight. We have to pick up the phone and call alumni in order for women to have an opportunity to maximize just NIL and just have an opportunity to make that money during their time in playing basketball on the college level. But it being a Division I school, you expect them to have money, but that's not always the case for women's basketball. So we have to continue to be vocal about women's basketball and stay in the forefront about the importance of making sure that women have just as many opportunities as men. And it may not be equal right now, but we have to stay in the forefront and continue to have tough conversations and make phone calls to alumni to try to help out with what they call collectives, money being collective to be able to distribute to the athletes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then piggybacking off of that, congratulations to the women in the WNBA. They were just able to come to agreement and negotiate their collective bargain agreement. And so now their floor for income has been raised now.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
God.
Absolutely. So I tried out for the WNBA in 2002. That, almost 25 years ago. At that time, it was the Detroit Shock, now the Dallas Wings. And league minimum at that time was $30,000.
Wow.
Now, they may say, that's not a lot. It was only for a couple of months, but it was $30,000. Now, with the agreement with the WNBA and the Players Union, 7-year collective bargaining agreement from 2026 to 2032, 20% revenue sharing, league minimum $300,000, and salary caps $7 million. So now big time players can make up to $1 million. That was unheard of and has been unheard of. They're also working on retirement benefits, and housing stipends, and just better travel. So that is monumental. I'm glad that they're still talking and they're still negotiating, because again, this gives a better opportunity for women's athletics across the board, for us to be in the forefront of athletics and have a place in athletics to be able to maximize contracts, to be able to have large salaries of $1 million. $300,000 was unheard of for a league minimum, but I think that's a great start. I think that's a wonderful start.
Yes. I'm so happy for that agreement was finally in place, because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Coach, you mentioned you got cut and how that made you feel. But let me just first of all say I got cut as well. So I know that when I saw him walking towards me, I knew what the hell the conversation was going to be.
Yeah.
But, so how did you feel and how did you rebound?
I was devastated. Basketball for me since 4th grade was an outlet. Growing up in the inner city with a single mom, it was so much going on in our neighborhood. It was an outlet for me. It was also a ticket to college for me. And so to be able to get cut, I was in shock. I went through a depression for some time because, again, basketball was everything to me. It was my world. So during that time, I had to figure out, okay, what's next? At the time, I was majoring in sociology, and I was almost done with my undergrad degree. And so when I came back to Auburn, I was like, I got to figure this out. And so I, of course, majored in physical education, got my master's degree there. And so I started realizing that even though basketball per se didn't work out professionally, God was going to use it for me to be able to minister to the next generation. And it has taken some time, but that purpose is really becoming clearer and clearer about my purpose, and even using something that's devastating as being cut from the WNBA now to be a blessing to other people.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because in essence, it's still, like you say, it's a vehicle and it's a tool.
Absolutely.
So even though from a personal standpoint, you didn't achieve that particular goal, but you may have a far better wide-ranging impact on the game of basketball through the people you mentor, especially young girls now.
Yes.
Yeah, young girls and young men. One thing that I do, I have a personal training business called Created to Hoop Basketball, where I train girls and boys, and I teach them the fundamentals of the game. And just this year, I've started to just focus solely on shooting. One, because I was a phenomenal shooter. I can put the basketball in the hole, but I can also teach girls and boys how to put the ball in the hole. And at the end of the day, that's why people buy tickets. Yes, we want to see defense. Yes, defense win games. But at the end of the day, they want to see that ball go in the hole. And that's something that I've started to specialize in as a basketball personal trainer, shooter specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so those parents out there who are interested in their, in getting their kids some training, how do they reach out to you to set up that training session?
They can go to my website, CoachCarolRhoden.com. CoachCarolRhoden.com.
Okay.
Rhoden, right?
Rhoden. Yes, sir.
Hey. So, Carol, let's talk about. I'm sorry, Michael.
Go ahead. I got to follow up on a couple things there. Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay, I was going to talk about the books you've written. You know, the phenomenal. I read the first one; it was wonderful. Talk about that one as well as your new book that you have out now.
So Carol's Dream was my first book, and Carol's Dream was actually a story about a little girl who had a passion of playing football, but of course gravitated toward the game of basketball in the 4th grade. And after a lot of success, she got a college scholarship. But Carol's Dream was about her dream of going to college. It also talks about her losing her mom at the age of 15 and being devastated, but also taking that as her motivation to say, what would my mom want to see me do? Would she want me to be depressed, or would she want me to succeed in the dream that we talked about when she was here? And so that's what Carol's Dream was about. Believe it or not, Carol's Muddy Mishap, which is my second children's book, is actually a spinoff of Carol's Dream. It talks about a specific story of Carol playing football with the boys at school, and the night before, it being a torrential rain and mud puddles all over the football field, and Carol taking a dive face first, being pushed in the back in the mud by one of the class bullies named Demetrius. And so the book just talks about her resilience and being able to get up out the mud, literally face first, messing up her blouse and being able to press forward in spite an embarrassing event.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
And my second book, which is actually not a children's book, is called Life Lessons with Coach Rhoden. It was a devotional that I wrote during the pandemic. And that devotional was solely for parents. Excuse me. And the concept behind that book was to take what I do. It's called Life Lessons. So every day, the first 3 or 4 minutes of class, I have what's called Life Lessons with Coach Rhoden. And my kids are acclimated. They understand, hey, it's about to be a life lesson, so just get ready for it. And we talk about things like iron sharpens iron, speak what you seek until you see what you said. They'll know you by the fruit that you produce. And so now my kids are now in a situation, they're now able to give me my life lessons back. Some of them will go home and talk to their parents about it, and they'll have open dialogue, which that's what it's about. So that book, Transforming Lives Through God's Word, was an opportunity to try to connect with parents to say, hey, these are things that we need to be focused in on with this next generation. Yes, we have AI. Yes, we have technology, but it's some biblical principles that we got to get back down to for this generation if they're going to be successful and they're going to be able to make it in this world now.
That's great.
Mhm.
Good stuff.
Who's up?
Michael.
I wanted to go back. I know that you coach and everything, and I have to ask you a question. I guess myself and TG, we're kind of old school about this. Do you ever call a timeout in a game?
Yes, I do call timeouts. If things are getting out of hand, yes, I do call timeouts. They are necessary. I don't like.
Help me understand this, because we have some coaches. There's a coach at Auburn wouldn't call a timeout when things were getting out of hand. Okay.
And you know, sometimes as coaches, we want players to be able to fight through tough situations. So we're trying to build character, but we're also trying to get them to be ready for the latter part of the season when things may get tough, or we may not have a timeout. But if things get too far out of hand and too far out of reach, I mean, what do you say in a timeout if you're being blown out? Like, what's the conversation? So yes, timeouts are necessary. When you call a timeout, that's at the discretion of the coach.
I understand, but a lot of times things are getting blown out. They say we want the players to figure it out. Well, they're not figuring anything out. Right. You can tell that there's no change in momentum. That's why you get a timeout.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're in a time now where we have to put more accountability on players, especially with NIL and players getting paid more than the coach. You know, it's difficult to listen to someone and I'm making more than you. And I know that sounds bad, but that's kind of where we are. The arrogance. At the end of the day, we have to put the responsibility back on the players. When it comes to the basic fundamentals that we teach, it has to be some accountability that if you don't do these specific things, this is going to be the repercussions of it. So when you call a timeout and you ask them where they were supposed to be and what they were supposed to do, the accountability has to fall back on them, and it has to be a partnership. Because at the end of the day, these players have to take a little bit more accountability, and I don't feel that happening on a college level.
Well, I agree with that, but as a coach, you got to enforce it. So if you weren't in the right place where you sit, so and so you in his place, get out there.
Right.
You know, there's things you have to do to put it back like that.
So last night, when Southern Cal was behind by 40-some points, when you call timeout, what do you say? Hey, so what you think? What do you behind 42 points.
Honestly, at that point, I think because this generation is not used to being in tough situations, and so they haven't built mental toughness or those muscles per se, or that mindset hasn't been strengthened in a way that can get them out of a tough situation. You know, honestly, as a coach at that point, it's all about character, honestly, and it's about your integrity of the game. Are you going to go out here and just lay down and die, or are you going to continue to push through and fight? Those are the things that we need to be teaching this next generation. Because quite honestly, even playing sports, it's just a window of opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're right, because even if you're behind by 42, well, at some point you can decide, well, we're going to cut this down to 20 points, and if we lose by 20 points, then that's somewhat of a victory because we've come back from 20 points down.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, absolutely. So one thing that I do with my players, we come into practice, we're conditioning right off the bat. And some people say, well, shouldn't you do fundamentals first? No, I need you exhausted. I need you mentally fogged. I need you out of breath. So now you can focus in on what I'm saying. And now I can see your true character. Sometimes when it comes to true character, you can't see that in a player. If they can shoot the ball, they can do X, Y, Z. But get down and you'll see, or get them exhausted or fatigued, you will see the true character of a player.
The other question is 3-point versus 2-point. Look like nowadays the intermediate jump shot is a lost art. Nobody can shoot an intermediate jump shot, a mid-range jumper. Okay, back in the day, if you were a shooter or a scorer, you could shoot that mid-range jumper because when you couldn't get to the hoop, you could stop, pop. Okay, nowadays they're only shooting the 3 or they trying to go dunk, and nothing in between.
Absolutely. To me, that's a player's bread and butter. I don't care if you are the 1 or you are the 5. Everybody needs to be able to shoot that mid-range game. Even if you are a post player, you need to be able to get to that free throw line, get to that high post, turn, shot fake, go. You should be able to shot fake and shoot it. That mid-range game to me is a lost art, and that's the difference in the game today. It's like you said, we're either wanting to dunk or we want to go in. But if you have a touch on that basketball, to me, that's the difference in a scholarship.
I agree. Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, back in the day, we used to call it 3 the hard way, right? You go in there, you draw the contact, you score, then you go to the free throw line and hit the free throw. That's 3 the hard way. Now they want to sit out there and look cute.
They want the easy 3.
It looks nice when it's going in.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's great when it's going in. Absolutely.
Yeah, but if you miss 2 or 3 of them, and most long range shots, when you miss, they bounce out. So the other team get rebound in a fast break. So
absolutely. Right. Yeah. We call it, long shot, long rebound. Long shot, long rebound. Those are basic fundamentals of the game. So you're absolutely right. This day and age, everybody wants to shoot threes because it's cool to do. Everybody wants to be Stephen Curry, but they have no clue of the work that he puts in constantly to be able to make those shots on a consistent basis. And that goes back to work ethic.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you can hang with Tom and I when we're discussing basketball. You know his stuff.
She most certainly does.
We'll let you in the club. We won't push you back like the boys used to do. We'll let you come in and talk with us.
Well, I appreciate it. I have a passion for the game, but I also have a passion for the integrity of the game. And I still believe that even though we're in the NIL season, most states now have NIL where high school athletes are being able to monetize some way. That's the direction that we're headed in. But somehow, I still think we got to get back down to the integrity of sports and what it's actually going to mean for student athletes when they're done playing. They have to get a job. They have to be able to listen to someone. They have to be able to have ethics. They got to have integrity. And those things, I feel like, still needs to be the highlight of sports, even though student athletes are being paid.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And somebody asked me about the new coach at Auburn and what did I think he needed to do. I said, well, the first thing I think he needs to do is bring the pride back. They don't have pride.
Right.
They did some of those games they lost last year. Man, those are games you never should have lost.
Right.
And I spoke to some kids and I told them, I said, when I played, we never lost a home game. We wasn't gonna lose in our home stadium.
Right.
Now you may beat us on the road, but we ain't losing at home. And it was just a pride thing. And I'm just wondering how much of the pride has been taken away because of NIL and stuff like that, or just because of where we are today. I don't know. It just, well, for one thing, we had a coach that was there for 25 years. That'll never happen again.
Right.
But he was able to instill that pride in the university. And I wonder if, because of the money, there's not as much pride there, individual pride, pride for your school. And I saw some video of the coaching, the new coach, and he was actually coaching. He wasn't just standing on the sideline watching.
Right.
He was doing the coach, and he was doing individual coaching, and he was up in guys' faces talking to them about what he wanted and how it should go. And I got to thinking, well, maybe he can bring it back because we haven't had it in a while.
Right.
Absolutely. So it's easy. It's difficult to coach in this day and age because everything is about the next play. We're not so much reflecting on what did not go well. Everything is the next man up. And quite honestly, even with college coaching, it's the next man up. If you don't produce, you're gone. So instilling life lessons in young men and young women, I still think that has to be the basis of why we do what we do. No matter how long we stay at a program. Because at a blink of an eye, if an alum is not happy or the athletic director doesn't like what's going on, you can be gone. But I still think certain seeds that we sow, they will know you by the fruit that you produce. And even when you do leave, those players are going to always reflect on how that person made me feel and what they taught me way beyond the game of sports.
You're right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think also, to Tom's point and to you as well, Coach Rhoden, when we were playing, I had a coach who didn't believe in playing a zone. He said a zone is a lazy man's defense. Okay. You got a man, you get your man and you stop your man. And it's a personal challenge to stop your man. And most recently, I read an article where Stephen Pearl was saying that Auburn has a defensive deficiency. We lose games because of lack of defense. Well, playing defense is all about heart and want to. Just like going to get a rebound is about heart. I'm getting that rebound.
Right.
And you have to have that same mentality when you guarding a guy that said, you're not going to score on me. And if you do, you're gonna count your blessing because you're not going to do it again. And if you don't have that intensity there, you are going to lose games. And that goes back to mental toughness. But I think a lot of it has to do with how you practice as well.
Yeah. And I think Bruce Pearl did a phenomenal job of making sure his guys knew how to play defense. In order for you to get playing time, you had to be able to get some stops. And I love watching his teams play defense, how he would just use certain players, and he would play a man, but then he would play a zone, and he would have a matchup zone, and how he would pick up three-quarter court. I thought he did a phenomenal job of understanding his athletes and getting the most out of them on the defensive side. And, of course, offensive-wise, all of those, they can go. They can get a bucket, which was always great. But I always felt like with Bruce, the defense always generated the offense, which was I felt like was a part of his success. And those boys were locked in, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yes.
Because many times offense comes from defense
That's right.
in basketball.
Absolutely.
Defense is a lot of times about want to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, I want him. I got him.
Right.
Let me have him,
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
I'll take him.
Yep.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
All about heart. It's all about heart. And that's one thing that we're trying to teach this generation. That is not something that we can open it up and give you a little extra. It's something that has to be within, and they're gonna have to take pride. But everything to them is so microwave. Whatever I need is instant. So
right
why,
there. Right.
yeah, why am I having to work? Why am I having to do this? Anything I need, I can find it out instantly. So it's difficult to teach them to really plant seeds and water it and wait for your harvest. That's one of the toughest lessons I have trying to teach this generation.
Yes. I can certainly relate to that. I remember when my son was playing high school basketball and I was assistant coach, and we moved him from first string down to third, and he was surprised because that happened. And I said, well, look at how you practice. I say, you slow around in practice. You don't practice with any passion. I say, you're the last in running sprints. I say, so you deserve to be third string. I say, the way you practice is the way you play in the game.
Absolutely.
And he looked at me and he said, well, when it's time to play, I can show up. I said, you're not that good yet. You can't just show up. You're not that good.
Yeah.
You might not be playing.
Yeah.
All right.
I wish all athletes could just have a little bit of humble pie.
Yes.
Just a little bit of humble pie. I think we will see a different era of sports across the board, but definitely in this NIL. But please understand, even at the peewee level, with football and with different sports, parents see a couple of things. They see an opportunity. It used to be college scholarship. Now is NIL. And honestly, that's great. But that cannot be the basis of why you do what you do. Parents even have to get back to falling in love with the process and teaching them along the way that when they do certain things, if an NIL or a scholarship comes with that, I think that's phenomenal. That's great. But they have to fall in love with the process of getting better. And I don't think parents really, really understand the magnitude of how important that is right now with this generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even more so because of what you're saying, because of the lifestyle,
Right.
A lot of stuff back when Tom and I grew up, we learned a lot of stuff out in the street playing street ball.
Yep.
And we were playing street ball with people that were older than us. So we were forced to learn and mature and to know how to play. But nowadays kids, they don't get that because you can't go out in the streets and play like that.
Absolutely. So what we're finding now is that having a personal trainer or having someone to bridge that gap is important. The problem is a lot of people who are training have no basketball background. That blows my mind. That is saturated with personal trainers that don't know or how to make the connection. And when parents ask me, hey, I'm working with so-and-so, I always tell them, always begin with an evaluation. Are they going to evaluate your child? Secondly, once they evaluate them, can they tell you what the ultimate goal is? And you can actually see over a period of time that they're actually working toward that goal. And then last but not least, make sure they can make the connection to, okay, I'm going left. I put the ball between my legs and I finish right. Or I go right, I put the ball between my legs and I stop and pop. Can they make the connection of how that's going to be beneficial in the game and game time situation? A lot of times, some trainers, and not all, doesn't have basketball IQ. So how can you give kid instruction or be a personal trainer and you cannot connect it to the actual game and game situations? We got to do a better job of finding people that's going to work well with our child, but also has basketball knowledge, basketball IQ, and has some basketball experience.
Right.
You're absolutely right. That and it's kind of funny. That reminded me of back when my daughter was playing basketball and her mother got a trainer for her. And she asked me if I had heard of this guy. And I said, no. But then when I saw him, he was like about 5'9". My daughter was 6 foot tall as a freshman. Okay, he's playing forward. He never played forward at anything. So
Right.
how is he going to teach her how to play down low in the low post?
Absolutely. So I would advise parents, if you are listening, when you solicit a trainer or you find a trainer, do your homework. First, do your homework. Secondly, have a consultation with that person to make sure that they line up with what your needs are. Now, they may evaluate your child and say, I think she or he needs to work on this, this, and this. And that can be a part of it. But even if you don't have basketball IQ or you may not know the game fully, it's some things that you want your child to be able to work on. You and your child need to have a conversation. But a couple of things are going to stand out. If you work with a post player, it'd be great if that post player played in high school or at least college to have some basketball knowledge or even play pro. You find also, too, point guards who have played at a high level can train almost every position because they understand what everybody on the floor needs to be able to do in detail. So they make some of the best trainers as well. I would tell parents to definitely have a consultation, definitely do your homework, and just don't take a person just for what everybody else is doing. It needs to meet your needs, and also understand too, you only have a window of opportunity while your child is playing. So they need to be able to benefit and maximize that window of opportunity, those trainers. Yeah.
And respect your child's ability. Your child may not be going to the NBA.
Right.
Not be going any further than playing in the 10th grade junior high school or whatever.
Right.
But that may be good enough. And I think that's part of it as well. I see, man, you go to some of these games, some of these parents are like, wow, man, chill out.
Yeah.
You know? Damn, you just dogging your child out.
Right.
Absolutely. It's difficult to watch 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds get coached like they're in the NBA. And sometimes, and this is not all parents, but sometimes some parents are vicariously living through their child and the opportunities that they didn't have. And so they're pouring into them. But I think parents need to take a step back sometimes and reflect. And sometimes just ask what the child wants. Now, they are a child and they don't see the big picture like you do because you are an adult. But I think sometimes some parents, they go a little bit too hard sometimes with the outlook of where they see their child. And there's nothing wrong with hard work. We all need that. But when you're degrading your child and they're 5 years old, we got to take a step back. We got to take a step back. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much there.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with nothing wrong with playing, and nothing wrong with you lose a game. That ain't the end of the world, you know. All that kind of stuff. And I just went to a couple of games with my friend, and it's like, man, chill out a little bit. He's doing the best he can, you know.
Right.
And sometimes you got to realize at what stage your child's gonna have to drop out, because everybody ain't going up all the ladder. Some of them are gonna go to the first step, and that's as far as they're gonna go.
Absolutely.
They may go 3-4 steps, but you can't make them be something that they're not, and then you end up maybe spoiling their whole attitude towards the game.
Yeah, and that's something else that we're finding now at a high rate. Kids are just literally putting the ball down, whether it be football, whether it be basketball, whether it be baseball. They're literally putting the ball down because either they've what we call overusage, where they play year round, which is really not good for athletes, first grade, second grade, third grade. They need time to rest. And so a lot of it is overusage and they're burned out, literally. When we were coming up, we played volleyball, basketball, track. We had times where we took off. Even if we had our love and our passion, whatever sport it was, we took off. And that gave those muscles time to rest. That's you didn't have a lot of overusage. But we see a lot of overusage injuries now in young children. And that's something that parents got to think about. If you're working 7 days a week, it's a reason why on the 7th day he rested. He was trying to let us know that we got to have rest. And a lot of times parents are pushing kids year round to play one sport. And I definitely don't recommend that at a very, very young age.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Agreed.
we played football, basketball, baseball, ran track. You did everything.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Because you enjoyed it. Really.
Mhm.
It was
Right.
fun.
Right.
Yeah. We're even finding kids now who, if you know how coaches would see you and say, "Hey, I want you to come out for the volleyball team," and you say, "Oh, okay, coach," or say, "Hey, I want you to come out and run track," or "Hey, I want you to come out and play softball." You just say, you bob ahead and say, "Okay, coach," and you go. But kids now are actually focusing on specific sports at a young age, like, "Oh, I just run track," or "I don't play football," or "Oh, I just play football, I don't play anything else." No, you need these other skills in order for you to be able to develop the skills that you need in the sport that you love or have a passion for. This is going to help you along the line.
Yeah,
But just
absolutely.
focusing in on one sport at a young age, I don't recommend that at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A couple things that you're saying. I know we're running out of time. It's such a good conversation.
I
But a
know.
couple things you just talked about. For instance, by playing a different sport, you will learn a skill set that translates to your favorite sport.
Major
How
sport.
many times you hear about announcers talking about tight ends in football played basketball and was a power forward, and that's how they block people out and catch the football. You know,
Yes.
Or quarterbacks who are now receivers.
Right.
And as she said earlier, they can be a good receiver because they understand the game.
Yes.
Right.
They've seen the whole game, and now
Right.
they know where they fit.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
Absolutely.
And the other point that you've been making without actually coming to it is that through sports, our kids learn life skills
Oh,
and life
yes.
lessons. So even
Definitely.
if they don't become a professional in that particular sports endeavor, they can become a professional in something else. And that mental toughness that they learn, that no quit, that attitude of I'm going to win, it carries over into other aspects of business.
Of
Absolutely.
life in
Yeah.
general. Yes.
Well, I also think, I'm from old school. There's only one reason to play, and that's to win.
Yes.
That's right. That's
So if you ain't playing to win, you can't play on my
Absolutely.
team.
Right.
absolutely. Absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
We're here to win the game, man. That's all that matters.
Yes.
Anything else, guys? I tell you another quick thing. We had a guy one year. We had they decided that we had more offensive guards than we needed, and so they would use the offensive guards to bring the plays in. And so they would tell him what the play was, and he'd run out to the huddle, and he'd stand there, and he'd call the play. We'd tell us to play, and we'd call the play. Well, we had this one guy. They'd give him the play, and he'd get halfway out there, and he'd stop. And everybody said, "Well, what's he doing?" They said, "Shit, he done forgot to play."
Yeah.
And he'd be looking at us and looking back at the coach, and they'd be saying, "Oh, he forgot."
Yeah.
It was the funniest thing you ever.
Well, what play did he call when he got to the huddle?
We mostly just made up something. We just call something else, We tell Randy, just call another play, man. Just call it. Yeah, that's the way it was. It was funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, Coach, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate
Yes.
you and wish you the best of luck. And thank you for what you're doing for the kids, man. Because
Absolutely.
I think they're needed, and we can't just. And you made a great point about the money. It ain't just about money.
Mhm.
And if a kid decides that he's not going to play at he's in elementary school because he's not getting the money, then that's probably the wrong reason to be playing. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think if you can, Michael talked about his playing. You talked about your playing. I think if you can enjoy it, that's what it's about. And
Absolutely.
you can enjoy it, man, and play because you like it, and and I think also it's like if you get into the level of the WNBA, and getting cut, or getting cut like I got cut from the Bills. Man, that's an accomplishment in itself,
It is.
just getting to that level.
Yes.
And and for me, to be honest, when I saw the way some of the guys behave, it's like, shit, I don't know if I want to play.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we talk about education, but this generation has to have a sound academic background. When parents hear their child has a better chance of being struck by lightning than making it to the pros,
there you go.
It should humble them enough to reflect, but all don't reflect. They really have to understand the chances of their child making it and why academically it is so important for them to have a strong academic foundation so they can fend for themselves once they get out of their homes. At the end of the day, we have kids for a small amount of time. I have a 5-year-old and an 11-year-old, and I'm enjoying this time because I understand that it is a window of opportunity. Of course, I lost my own mom at the age of 15, so I really understand it, the magnitude of what this time means. But we have got to really, really pour academics into this next generation. And I was listening to what Barbara was saying in the chat about the lady graduating with a 3-point something and not knowing anything. Y'all, that is a big problem right now in education. With Chat GPT and all these opportunities for kids to cheat, they are children. They don't understand the long landscape of what that's going to do to them and how that's going to hinder them along the line. We can't push kids along anymore. They have to get these foundations. So I really think parents need to definitely be hands-on and really be in tune to what's going on with their kids academically. I don't care if they're in the kindergarten. You need to know what they know and what they don't know. Sometimes when they're doing their homework, you may not fully understand it. Ask them to explain it to you because you'll know, okay, so my kid has a 3.8, but he reads on the first grade level.
Yes.
That's a problem.
Exactly. That was my point. How did the family not know until graduation that this person was reading on first grade level?
Absolutely.
They had to have known that beforehand. So.
Yeah. And one more thing, as parents as well, we have to be in tune to what our children are looking at and listening to. So, and I know we're running out of time, but I want to talk about this real quick. So what I teach parents about ear gate, and I teach them about eye gate. It's a gate that literally opens up your eyes and opens up your ears. And so when a kid has their ear gate and their eye gate open, I tell parents, what are portals that's coming through the ear gate and the eye gate? And I need parents to get back down to the basics of, okay, what is my kid being exposed to that's affecting their behavior? Because once we get to the behavior, it's almost too late because that's really that's a product of what already has been poured into them. Right. So I said, parents, let's get back down to the basics. So when we talk about portals, we talk about people they hang around. That's a portal because that's going to open up ear gate, eye gate. That's going to affect the way that I think and ultimately my actions. Now let's think about television. That's another portal. Cell phones. Yeah, but yes, cell phones. Influencers. All of these things are things that parents need to get back down and say, what is my kid being exposed to? What portals are opening up that's affecting the way that they think, that's saturating through their heart? The word of God says, guard your heart with all vigilance, for out of it flows the springs of life. So when they start having certain behaviors, they start acting a certain way, their attitude change. We have got to be helicopter parents and get back down to who is my kid hanging around? Who's influencing them? Because that's going to ultimately affect how they think and their behavior holistically. So we got to get in tune to what's going on with our kids on a daily basis. Because one thing about it, Satan wants their soul. It's no misunderstanding. And he is gunning for the next generation. He ain't concerned about me. He ain't concerned about you. He wants this next generation with intent. So we got to be vigilant as parents. We got to be vigilant as parents.
All righty. Thank you so much, Coach.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good session. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna have to move on here. So thank you very much, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, my closing comment for today, or as I see it, the heat is on with March Madness and all that right now, but I've been doing something that I don't generally do this time of the year, especially involved in sports. I've been watching this new football coach at Auburn, Alex Golish. He's the head football coach hired in November 2025 to a 6-year deal. He's formerly the head coach at South Florida, and he's known for his offensive-minded approach, and he brought several assistants and some players from South Florida to Auburn. What I've been impressed with in video practices and the drills is I see him actually coaching and teaching, etc. In my opinion, that's what those kids need. Someone who can teach, which is what Coach Rhoden was just talking about, someone who can teach and bring that pride back. Auburn didn't always have the best players, but those that took the field had pride. That pride may have been lost in recent years. They could have gotten it back, maybe if Cadillac had been hired, because he had that enthusiasm to give the players back what they needed, and he wasn't that far removed from playing. Coach Vogolish also did a very smart thing by bringing Jarris McIntyre back into the fold. Jarris is over alumni relations, and because Jarris's father played in the early days of Auburn integration, Jarris will be able to connect all the alumni from his dad's era up until now. And again, bring that pride back. We need the pride. War Eagle. And that's our show for today. I want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank the G-List guests, Dr. Coach Carol Rhoden. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team of Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And as always, a special thanks to the audience. And that's it for this March 24th in the year 2026. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. You got an extra smile, give it to somebody. It just might make their day. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Don't let a day go by that you don't take the time to make your life or somebody else's life better. Stay safe. Blessings. Peace.